op-amp internal circuit in details, but before we learn that thing, let's try to learn that thing in the okay, try to learn that thing. Can you see my screen once again? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have to learn this thing in the block wise. Still people are joining. I need to approve them. Abhishek Kumar. Okay. So clear? So we can say in the equivalent circuit, we have to design in such a way that that thing is, if we measure voltage here, we are getting this thing, or we can say that some voltage source is working here, and that voltage is like this. So we can say that something is working here, that is that voltage source. That voltage source is like this. Can you write this thing? And one more thing, whenever we design the op-amp, we have to make the op-amp input impedance very high. Why that? Because in case of op-amp, basically op-amp is designed to amplify any signal which is amplitude is very small, voltage level and current level is very small, and if op-amp do not have very high impedance in the input terminals, then what will happen? The entire circuit will be consumed, entire circuit current of the input signal will be already consumed by the internal circuit of this op-amp. Then what will happen? It will be difficult to work with the input signal if that signal level is very small and the maximum current of that input signal is consumed by the internal circuit of this op-amp. Then what will happen? The thing is that the voltage or signal level will be wasted maximum. Okay, and already op-amp is dealing with the very small signal, that microvolt level signal or nanovolt level signal, and current of that signals are also very small. That's why op-amp circuit is designed in such a way that the input impedance is very high, and if the input impedance is very high, then no current from the input signal will flow through the op-amp. So that's why
Sir, your screen is not visible.
Sorry?
Sir, your screen is not visible.
It's visible, sir.
I think there is a problem with you.
Yes, sir.
It is visible with everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you check your connections or settings. You just
No, sir. No, sir. This is not visible to me too.
It's
Sir,
visible.
Screen is not visible.
Yes, sir. Same.
Visible, sir.
It's
I have not presented the screen.
Visible, sir.
No, sir, it's not visible.
Now it's not
You
visible.
just stop sharing it.
okay. Let me check it. Your entire screen.
Sir, it was visible.
Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So so what I was discussing, that op-amp output voltage, you have checked that output voltage is this thing, V out equals to A into V into minus V in 1. So we can say that if we look at the circuit, we are trying to design the op-amp as a, we are trying to see the op-amp equivalent circuit. What is the circuit it can be? So the output, from the output we are measuring the voltage, that is basically we are getting a voltage, some constant part gain, then some difference of voltage. So this is also, output is also a voltage. So this voltage, if we are getting at the output, we can say that as if some voltage source is working here. Okay, variable voltage source is working here, dependent voltage source. This is the symbol of dependent voltage source. Independent voltage source is displayed in this type of symbol. This should be plus and this should be minus. Okay, this is the independent voltage source, and this is the dependent voltage source symbol. So this voltage source depends on input voltages. Okay, so that's why this is called dependent voltage source. This is not an actual voltage source. Okay, so we can just draw the equivalent circuit from the output, considering the output that some voltage source is working here, and that should be equals to A into V in 2 minus V in 1, or V2 minus V1. And second thing, what I discussed, yes? Any question? Any question from anybody?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, you told us that whenever in this, sir, I have posted in the chat box also, sir, that when both the sources have equal voltages, then they get cancelled and V out is 0. Sir, is it in the practical case or the ideal case?
This is for ideal case. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
And we'll discuss all possible things. Just ask me questions, whatever we discussed so far. Okay, so whenever we'll end the entire syllabus, we'll be able to solve all the problem. Okay, so this is the ideal case. Okay, and if the case is not ideal, then what will happen? We'll also discuss that thing. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whenever you ask any question, just tell me your name also. Otherwise, it will be very good for me. Okay.
Sir,
Who are you? Yes.
sir, one question.
Yes.
Sir, what's the reason for making high input impedance? Please explain again.
Okay. So the reason of making input impedance is very high is, so why the op amp is designed? Op amp is designed to amplify any small signal, right? Small signal means the signal we basically use for use in the say for communication. So in the receiver antenna, the signal we are getting, that is very small. That is microvolt level signal, 10 to the power minus 6 level signal, volt level signal, or nanovolt level signal. You want to amplify that signal, and this signal, say this is the signal, and this signal voltage level is also very low. So from this signal, the signal current level is also very small, and if that current completely consumed by the internal circuit of the op amp, then what will happen? The entire current will be wasted, and it will not be able to perform any operation with this signal. Okay, so op amp is designed to amplify very small signal, and we want that the signal current will not be wasted or the consumed by the internal circuit. The op amp will only sense the signal and it will perform its action accordingly. If we need to perform any mathematical operation, it will perform that. If we need to amplify the signal, it will amplify that, but it will not consume any signal coming from the input, because the input signal level is also very small, already very small. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And so that's why the reason is written that the reason of making input impedance very high, the circuit can be driven by any source. The signal level may be very small or very high, whatever it is, but the signal current will not flow into the op amp. So these input impedances, that's why very high. Okay, so it minimizes the electrical losses, and as it is designed to amplify the very small signal. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, and second reason is very wonderful reason, and that is also very important reason, the cutoff frequency. The cutoff frequency is, write down cutoff frequency, FT, cutoff frequency, if we deny the cutoff frequency, that is I out, my handwriting will not be good because I am using mouse to write anything. I out by I in. Cutoff frequency is what? Cutoff frequency is, please somebody, noise is coming, whoever unmuted, please mute yourself. Okay, so cutoff frequency is basically the how much frequency of that particular device can handle, how maximum frequency it can handle. Okay, so basically if we plot frequency in this axis, okay, and that is the ft here, ft equals to I out minus I in, means output current by input current. When output current by input current equals to A1 equals to 1, that is considered as the cutoff frequency. And we want for any particular device the cutoff frequency should be infinite. Okay, so that it can deal with any signal having infinite frequency, very high frequency. That is our desired thing. So cutoff frequency will be like this. At a particular, when this will be ft will be 1, then we'll be considering that is the cutoff frequency. Okay, so when it will reach 1, we'll consider that is the cutoff frequency. So it will not reach 1. It will, so we have an output current, and if the output current is equals to input current, then only cutoff frequency will be 1. Clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
cutoff frequency will arise when output current, we have a current at the output that should be desired, that is desired, but we want this current should be as small as possible, otherwise it will reach to the cutoff frequency. Device will reach to the cutoff frequency, and in can be made 0 as much as possible. How that is possible? That is possible on a particular device if that input impedance is very high, then only those who are attending classes, please sit in a room where there is no noise. Otherwise, so many people are there, and if noise is coming from your room, then that will be very difficult. Try to maintain this thing. Already we are facing so many difficulties due to this situation, and if you don't try to realize the situation and don't cope up with the situation, then it will affect your study, right? So sit in a room where there is no noise. That you can do, right? Okay, so the ft will not reach to the 1 if you can make I in equals to almost 0. If with time, with frequency, I in increases, because so whenever we design these devices, the device has some resistances and some capacitances, and capacitances start trying to become like a short circuit when we apply AC signal, and this frequency increases means it will have a tendency to conduct a current. Our objective should be that I in should be almost 0, and that is possible if we can make the input impedance very high. That's why you know that BJT input impedance is also very high. In the MOSFET, there is a MOS capacitor. That capacitor works as a insulator. It will not let you enter any current. So whenever we design any device or any circuit, our objective should be to make the input impedance high so that no current will flow through the device. Okay, because we want to make the device cutoff frequency infinite so that it can handle any kind of high frequency signal as well as small frequency signal. Is that clear to you? So 2 reasons to make the input impedance high. That is, one is so that there will be no current flow, so that the small signal can be amplified and current will not be consumed by the internal circuitry. And second thing is that the cutoff frequency should be as high as possible. Is that okay?